So again, good afternoon to everyone. And this evening we will be looking at menopause and its transition. And we will also look at what can be done to encourage a smooth transition. I will ask for everyone to please mute your audio. Mm, Yeah, so menopause is one of the phase in life that a woman goes through. Some women embrace it and others do not. But nonetheless, all women would have to go through this phase. As long as God spare our life, we will have to go through this phase. So it will help us to educate ourselves and to learn about our bodies and what we can do in order to support our bodies during this process and to make it easier for us to transition into menopause. So the information that I am sharing here today is for educational purposes only. Please do your own research and please consult with your physician if you so need. So I pray as we start that God will be with us, continue to be with us throughout this presentation. So when we're talking about menopause, we have to look at hormones. Hormones are it is the body's internal communication mechanism, and they're pretty much like um, messengers. So everything actually starts in the brain. In the brain, we have the hypothalamus gland, and there is also the pituitary gland. And the hypothalamus gland is sometimes called the thermostat of the body because it helps to regulate the body's temperature. But in terms of hormones, the hypothalamus gland communicates with the pituitary gland, and then the pituitary gland sends signals to the gonads. And we see the gonads at the bottom there. It would be the testes and the ovaries. The pituitary gland secretes LH, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormones, and those two hormones um, help. Those two help with the secretion of the other hormones, such as estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. Now, both men and women have estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. We just have it in different amounts. Women have women have more estrogen and men have more testosterone in their body. So let's say sometimes the pituitary gland may secrete the LH, for instance, and LH, the luteinizing hormone, would cause the testes to produce testosterone, which is important for sperm production. And that's for the men, but for the woman, the same LH triggers ovulation, and it also helps to release with the relief of an egg from the ovary every month. And so basically, the pituitary gland secretes these hormones, and then these hormones go on to produce the different hormones, the estrogen, progesterone,
Okay.
testosterone.
Well,
Or,
they have to get
uh,
for them. I never challenge like
sorry. So those are just maybe the major ones for this presentation for this cause, but there are other hormones out there. Mm-mm. And so hormones have different functions in the body. They help with growth. They help with maturation, growth and maturation. It also helps with metabolism, your emotions, your mood, your stress levels, reproduction and sexual differences, and also with immunity. All these things are affected by our hormone levels. And so we all go through this life cycle, each and every one of us. We go through childhood and then we enter into puberty. Some years ago, puberty used to occur around the age of 14, 15. That was many, many, many years ago. But we find that as we come closer and closer to present day, that young girls are entering into puberty at an earlier age. You find girls as young as 8 years old are starting to have their menses, unfortunately, and that is an early sign of hormonal imbalance. If they're parents with young girls, if your daughter is starts menses as early as 8, 9, and 10, then you should start looking into hormonal imbalance, um, into balancing the hormones, because it may not um, be a big issue now that the child is small. But if that continues, especially most of the times, um, children are affected. Let's say the child is affected by or have an hormonal imbalance issue. Parents don't know it, or there is an insulin resistant issue going on. Parents don't know it, and child continue to go through life with this continue. As the child continues to go through life, the situation becomes worse and worse, and then it starts to manifest itself most of the times in the early 30s, sometimes in the 20s. It's just that majority of the times we do not know these symptoms and we do not know what is going on. And in some cases, we find that the symptoms are almost like normal for us. And so we accept it as normal. But in actuality, if we are aware of certain things and we pay close attention, we will realize that there are early symptoms for certain conditions that are showing up early. We just didn't know about it, and so is the case with puberty, starting puberty at an early age as well. I know that I mentioned young girls, but it's also important to note that boys do suffer from hormonal imbalance as well. And then there is adulthood, and then we enter into the phase that we're going to talk about today, which is menopause for the women and andropause for men. We're not talking about men today, but men do have their form of menopause, which is andropause. And so each year, about 1.3 million women go into menopause. The normal age for transitioning into menopause would be age 52 in the United States of America. We know that women go into and enter into menopause much earlier, some later, but 52 is just an average age. To be considered menopause, the woman would have to have no menses for 12 months, 12 consecutive months to be considered menopause. During that time, so before menopause, there is what we call pre-menopause or perimenopause. You might not hear about pre-menopause as much, but perimenopause is a little more common. And those are changes that occur in the woman's body before she actually goes into menopause, and we will learn a lot more about that. Um, Additional, some changes happen before menopause, changes happen during menopause, and changes also happen after menopause as well. And so there are symptoms um, throughout each stages. So perimenopause happens around menopause. So it's the years closest to menopause. So that would be 3 to 4, 5 years as much before menopause. And then there is premenopause. Premenopause happens before perimenopause. And it can happen. We find that young people as as in their 30s and in their 40s are entering into premenopause and experiencing these premenopausal syndromes. The only thing is that we don't know that it's premenopause, and we just think that, oh, sometimes we just think, oh, something is wrong with us, or, we look elsewhere. We never really look into what it was. And of course, in your 30s, which woman wants to be thinking about menopause at that age? Whether it's pre or peri, nobody wants to be thinking about menopause in general. So, but yes, premenopause does happen. You find young women as are in their 30s and in their early 40s are experiencing night sweats and having hot flashes and the moodiness. Some are also can find themselves depressed, and that can affect family members as well. So there is also chronic fatigue, hair loss, acne, vaginal dryness, low libido. And this does affect the family because vaginal dryness and low libido, the woman is never really in the mood to be intimate with her spouse. And then whenever she does have that interaction, it is not a really good one for her because of the dryness. It it is painful for her. So that can interfere with the relationship in some ways, especially when we don't know what is going on. Sometimes the woman of herself might not realize it is these hormonal changes that are happening, and this is what is causing this problem. And worse yet, if she doesn't know it, in most cases, the man doesn't know. And so, problem can arise after some time due to frustration. Um, so so chronic fatigue also is one of the symptoms as well. You would find like in the early teens and in early 20s, the woman might have, we have all this energy and be able to do so much. Some women act like superwoman. We can do it all. So you find you go to work 8 hours per day, and busy at work. And some women, even when they get into the car on their way home, they don't even allow themselves to just be calm and relax. They're on the phone trying to fix something. So you're kind of working even though you're driving home. And then when you get home, you might have little ones. So now you have to fix the dinner, you have to just work again. And so this busyness and all this busyness causes a lot of stress on the woman. And, life in general can be stressful for some of us. We all differ and we all have different situations going on. So some of us may experience more stress than others. But this chronic stress is not good for a woman. And it is important also for men know about this, because when spouses know of the effect that stress has on the woman, then it is easier for him to help out in a way, help the woman in in whatever way he can, especially when it comes to the children, to help to offset the stress on the woman a little bit. So it that helps with more of a cooperative war effort in the home. Acne, I think I mentioned those already. And so we find now you're into menopause. Peri and premenopause again was the years leading up to menopause. Menopausal symptoms are the same symptoms as premenopause. The hot flashes, the night sweats, weight gain, especially during the midsection, you've been eating the same way, your lifestyle pretty much being the same, except for you gaining weight during the midsection. And you find sometimes women may, they put on a little weight, and then they try all take their weight, changing their diet and exercising and doing all manner of things in order to lose the weight and coming up futile. No matter what they try, the weight is they're not able to lose the weight, and hormone can play a role in that. And sometimes we don't we it's common for us to look in the direction of nutrition, which is good, and it's common for us to look in the direction of exercise, which is also good. Both are important for good health overall, but not so often do we look at our hormones and how it can affect us when it comes to weight gain. And so thinning of the hair is one of the symptoms as well. Um, Headaches, migraine is one of the symptoms of menopause or premenopause as well. And then again, we have the vaginal dryness and the low libido. Some women experience terrible anxiety and depression during this time. So it can be very, very difficult for the woman during during this process and this transition sometimes, because our body is now dealing with all of these emotions. Sorry, not emotions, I mean hormones. And so after menopause, some women experience severe bone loss, and that can lead to osteoporosis. And osteoporosis leads to can lead to bone fracture, and the woman can lose bone density during this process. And that's because progesterone helps to build new bone. And during menopause, there is a decrease in progesterone as well. There is a decrease in estrogen, but not as much as the progesterone. Um, Women after menopause also are more likely to have a heart disease comparing to before menopause, and also it can contribute towards diabetes as well.
Oh,
So there are three types of hormone. There is steroidal hormone that are made from cholesterol, and that's the one that we are going to focus on, because cholesterol is very, very important when it comes to hormones. Actually, cholesterol is the building blocks for the sex hormones. Cholesterol is necessary when it comes to vitamin D. It's important for good levels of. It's important for our sex hormones as well. So We want to maintain healthy levels of cholesterol, not low cholesterol. You need good cholesterol in your body because if you have low cholesterol, you don't have enough cholesterol, then you would not be able to produce as much of the hormones. Remember, cholesterol is the building block. From cholesterol, we get the pregnenolone and progesterone and the other hormones from. So to maintain good cholesterol levels are very, very important as well. And so we have here this chart shows the decline in estrogen and progesterone. So at menopause, there is a drop in estrogen and progesterone. But what is important to note is that even though there is drop in estrogen, which most people know of, there is also a greater drop in progesterone comparing to estrogen. So oftentimes, in order to support to have a good experience during menopause, it would help if the woman is able to, I can say, supplement with progesterone or just try to boost or progesterone levels. And you can buy some creams, and there are ways that you are able to do so. Of course, you want to check with your physician and not just jump and do things and assume that that is what is happening. But yeah, with the progesterone dropping, it would be a good idea to try to boost progesterone levels a little more. Liver plays an important part when it comes to hormone because the liver, let's read this, says the liver deactivates hormones after they've done their job in the body. So if the liver isn't working properly, then hormones might not be deactivated efficiently, which can lead to fluctuating estrogen levels and other menopausal symptoms. So, in order to ensure this smooth transition into menopause, it is important for us to have a healthy liver. And so some foods and herbs that you can use to help with liver would be the number one food you is the cruciferous vegetables. That's things like your broccoli and cabbage and Brussels sprouts and radish, and those things are really healthy for the liver. Some your dandelion leaves would be good as well. So you can add dandelion leaves to your salads. Things like cerasee. For Guyanese, that would be bitter melon. That would be Corilla. Corilla is very good for the liver. Milk thistle, blessed thistle, or some, Mary thistle, I think. But the thistle family are extremely good for the liver as well. Lemons are very good for the liver, so you can have lemon every day if you want to. Very, very good for the liver. And in general, the liver loves bitterness. Bitterness is like sweetness when it comes to the liver. So it is bitter in our mouth, but to the liver, it is sweet. So we are not to shy away from bitter stuff. Um, have as much bitter things that you can have because that is very healthy, very good for the liver. Colon health is also important when it comes to the transition as well, because the colon helps to excrete or get rid of the excess estrogen in your bowel. And if a person is constipated, it means that toxins, built toxins, and estrogen keeps reabsorbing in recirculating in the bloodstream. and that is not good. That can have some effect, not only in menopause, in in general. Constipation can have some effects on us. So as much as possible, we want to clean our colons and we want to consume high fiber foods, lots of vegetables and fruits and nuts and seeds. These foods are more natural foods, the foods that God gave us. These foods are high in fiber. And there are some things that you can use to help. Oh, flaxseed and chia seeds are also high in fiber as well. So those would be good. Yeah, some things that can help to cleanse the colon would be things like a cascara sagrada, and I love cascara sagrada. Yes, it is a very bitter herb, but guess what? It helps to cleanse the colon. It does a really good job at cleansing the colon, and it does not cause you to cramp up as much as senna does for some of us. Well, senna used to cramp me a lot, so I don't really like senna pod. So I like the cascara sagrada though. The other reason why I love cascara is because it also works on the liver as well. So when you take cascara, it not only helps the colon, it also helps the liver as well. It stimulates glutathione in the liver, and that helps with cleansing of the liver as well. So you have things like Cenopod. Cenopod is a very aggressive herb. It can be very aggressive for some of us and cause a lot of cramping. But if you have something like psyllium husk, which is high in fiber as well, you can add the psyllium husk to the Cenopod or use something along with the Cenopod that is less aggressive. Psyllium husk is more bulky, so you can use the psyllium husk together with the Cenopod and get really good results without the cramping as well. And we know that aloe vera is also good for the colon as well. And I'm sure there are other herbs and foods out there that you can use to help to clean the colon. And of course, drinking lots of water would help when it comes to colon health also. And what is also good for the colon is stimulation and stimulated by exercise. Exercise does that. So exercise would be very, very good in terms of moving the colon as well.
Cucumbers. I'm making sure it wasn't bad.
So the adrenal gland is also very important when it comes to menopause. Prior to puberty and after menopause, the adrenal glands are tasked with the job of making estrogen and progesterone. So during the childbearing years, the ovaries is tasked with making most of the hormones, such as your estrogen and your progesterone.
Oh.
When there is no, can you please mute? Thank you. So when the woman stops ovulating, then the adrenal gland picks up some of the slack. Of course, at this time, the lady does not need as much hormone, much estrogen and progesterone, but you still needs a healthy amount to continue with good health. And so to make the transition a little more smoother, you want to ensure that your adrenal are in good standing and they're not fatigue. So supporting adrenal health would be one of the first things that you want to do. Well, actually, we can call it a secret if you want, in terms of a good transition into menopause. DHEA is then used to make estrogen, primarily the E2 before menopause. Well, that's so important. stress and hormones. When there is stress, the body uses more pregnenolone to make more. I think that's supposed to be cortisol. Yes, it is cortisol. And so when there is during our stressful time, the body produces cortisol, and cortisol is good. Certain amounts in the body is fine, it's okay. Every now and then we can have elevated amounts of cortisol in the body. That too is okay. But when we have chronic elevated cortisol in the body, after some time, it can cause some adverse effects, numerous adverse effects. And one of the things with cortisol, elevated cortisol, is that when the cortisol is increased, then estrogen is decreased and DHEA. So we want to, as much as possible, manage stress as much as we are able to, because it does have an effect on the body. It affects the adrenal gland, and it helps to wear down the adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland, like I just said, plays an important role when it comes to the transition. Cortisol contributes to rapid aging process and contributes to weight gain, definitely weight gain, and that weight gain is actually the weight in the midsection. The one that is very, very hard to get rid of. Not only is very hard to get rid of, um, that fat in the midsection surrounds your major organs. So you pretty much have fat around your organs, which contributes to many chronic conditions as well, life-threatening conditions as well. So high levels of cortisol increases aging, rapid aging, and it also um, contributes towards people having gray hair as well. And there is what is called adaptogen, and as the name implies, it helps you to adapt to conditions. So these are some important herbs for reducing stress and to help to supplement the adrenal gland. Adaptogen increases levels of DHEA and reduce levels of cortisol, making more estrogen and progesterone available in the body. So some of the best adaptogen herbs would be ashwagandha, cordyceps, American ginseng, Asian ginseng, licorice is also a very good one, maca and schisandra berries as well. Now, as for the licorice, if person has high blood pressure, you need to be very careful when it comes to using licorice on a long term, because it can raise your blood pressure. So if a person is suffering from low blood pressure, then licorice would be a good herb to use. Now, if you have high blood pressure and you still want to consider using the licorice, you can use it in a formula. It doesn't affect you as much if you use it in a formula that has licorice. Or I'm trying to remember the name of the licorice, but it's diglyceride, a long name, kind of licorice, where they take out, I think, let's see if I can Google that one. Oh, it's called diglycerinate licorice. So you just look for DGL licorice, and that one is, you can use that one without having to worry about it elevating your blood pressure um if you so want to use that one. Then there is phytoestrogen, and those are your estrogen from plant foods. So soy and other legumes like black beans, chickpeas, peanuts, and mung beans, your whole grains. These are good food for us because they contain what is called phytoestrogen. Estrogen that is gentle that you get from your food, right? Um, Plant-based diet helps with menopause and supply the body with phytoestrogen, and these help to reduce xenoestrogen exposure. And so when we consume these phytoestrogen, they enter into the cell. And once the cells have enough of these estrogen, then they relax. And then the xenoestrogen, which are the other estrogen that are not good for us, would not be able to enter into the cell as well. So it's important for us to consist of plant-based diet, lots of plant-based foods, your whole grains, your vegetables, and all these foods that are listed here. And there are other foods that you can that are high in phytoestrogen as well that you can use. And here we come to the xenoestrogen, and these are synthetic estrogen that is used in animal feeds to increase milk production, egg production. Xenoestrogen are also found in things like in your plastics, and you can find them in your beauty products. They're in certain pesticides and herbicides that are on your food. So as much as you are able to, please consume organic. There is a dirty dozen, and there is also, I don't know if it's called clean dozen, but we'll call it clean dozen right now. So the clean dozens would be the healthier, the more clean foods, vegetables, fruits and vegetable in the supermarket, and the dirty dozen are as the name implies, the more the dirty ones. These are full of pesticides and so forth. So you always look up those and as much as possible because with time it's a very difficult sometimes for some of us to consume all organic. So what I try to do is I try the ones that are listed on the dirty dozens, those ones, or at least the first six of those, I try as much as possible not to consume those inorganic. I things like strawberries and blueberries are on there. Apples are on there. Those things are full with pesticides and all those things. So as much as possible, you want to consume those organic. The ones that are not on the list, you can flex things that have skin on them. You can flex with those as well. Just do the best that you can given your situation. And so this is the estrogen that we get from xenoestrogen is a very aggressive estrogen, and they help with rapid growth. And so those would help when it comes to things like cancer and fibroids in the system and stuff like that. Progesterone. At menopause, progesterone levels drop much larger than it does estrogen. And the same thing happens during perimenopause and premenopause as well. And so progesterone has an effect on our skin elasticity. It has an effect on bone strength. It has an effect on our inflammatory markers, and also it is an antispasmodic actions as well. And it plays a role when it comes to blood sugar regulation also. And so progesterone is very, very important throughout life and also during menopause and even after menopause. So Lower levels due to menopause may contribute towards hot flashes, mood changes, anxiety, depression, low libido. And some people may have difficulty sleeping. It may contribute towards weight gain and breast pain or breast tenderness. So one of the things that you can do would be to have natural progesterone creams. You can consider those. And there is these Walium creams. You just have to do your research and try to find a good brand. There is also a Dr. Platt. That one was recommended to me recently. And the person that's using it said that they have good results. So that one you can research and you can look into it. That's Dr. Platt, Platt, and it is a progesterone cream. And with these progesterone creams, you just have to put, just a little bit on your skin and certain areas of your skin. So like in the palm of your hand, your chest area, um, and so forth. But of course, when you get them, when you do your research and then you make your purchase, you will follow the instruction on the products. But they have natural progesterone creams out there for you to consider. DHEA, you can help to regulate, it helps to regulate estrogen production and down regulate the production of cortisol. Some good herbs that would be good for helping with DHEA, if needed, would be false unicorn and chaste tree. These herbs help to regulate female hormones during and after menopause, before, during, and after menopause. And soy and menopause. Consuming foods high in phytoestrogen can aid or help in terms of menopause. And research shows that Asian women who regularly consume soy products like tofu have lower rates of hot flashes than American women. Even though soy is very helpful because of its phytoestrogen effect, then it's also important to note that you want to consume organic soy. 90 something percent of the soy in the US is is GMO. And GMO soy I would suggest not to use because those would have some effect or some negative effect upon us. So if you're going to use soy, make sure that it's organic. If you're going to use tofu, make sure that it is always organic. There is also evidence that soy can help prevent bone loss and weight and helps with healthy weight after menopause as well. And in order to have the effect, you will have to consume it on a regular basis. And there are some herbs that can help to balance hormones, such as your licorice root again, hops, red clover, danquay, and black cohosh. Black cohosh is a very good option as well. If someone is into essential oils, then you can consider oils such as your pink grapefruit, clary sage, and geranium. And some herbs to help support progesterone as well would be wild yam, chasteberry berry again, and false unicorn. And I also already mentioned about using the natural progesterone cream as well. Persons that have hot flashes and night sweats, which are like the most common symptoms of menopause or premenopause. Black cohosh would be a herb that you can look into that would be very good in helping in that to alleviate that problem or helping with that problem. It works better in small quantities. So if you're buying the liquid form, just use pretty much around 5 to 10 drops. It's better you use small quantities steadily. So it also works well in hot flash formula as well. So black wash would be something to consider. Again, for essential oils, some people love essential oils. Lavender is very helpful. Rose essential oil, pink grapefruit, geranium, and clary sage would be very helpful as well. And it says essential oils directly affect the hypothalamus via the sense of smell, which resets your body's thermostat. Definitely is going to help when it comes to the hot flash. Here is a recipe that I found online. If you so like DIY recipes, then maybe you can try this. Hey, it's essential oil. It's not going to hurt. If you so please. And other things that you can use would be flaxseed and helping with stress. Your B vitamins will be very good when it comes to stress, and also vitamin C as well. Some adaptogens again would be herbs such as Sesandra berry and astragalus would help with the night sweat, and clarices and capsules can help to inhibit night sweats. And osteoporosis. Now, this is a major problem for women after menopause. So, osteoporosis is actually a progressive disease. Bone loss in general, actually starts around age 35, and it is accelerated by the loss of progesterone at menopause. And so, when there is this decline in progesterone after menopause, then you can have this bone loss situation. So, um, calcium, we all know how good calcium is for bone health. In most cases, it's not that people are not consuming enough calcium because there is still a lot of people in America consume a lot of calcium, but they still have the osteoporosis problem a lot over here. So sometimes people consume a lot of the calcium food, but because they may be lacking in certain minerals and so forth, the body is not able to utilize the calcium as it should. So, of course, yes, you want to have enough calcium in your diet, but you also want to make sure that you have good minerals and vitamins, you know. Vitamin D3, vitamin D helps to make calcium more bioavailable in the body, and it's good to pair vitamin D with K2, as K2 helps to send. It's like the traffic police, like the director, you know, it sends the calcium in the areas where it should be. And in the bone is one of the places where most of the calcium in our bodies should be. And then you want to consume foods that have minerals such as your boron, magnesium, and manganese. And that's just to say that a healthy diet is important. That's where you're going to have your minerals and your vitamins from. And then exercise is very good for building bones as well. So make sure to exercise as much as you're able to. Do some weightlifting, that will be good. And then for depression, you can use things such as black cohosh, um, St. John's wort, and there is something called 5-HTP. You can just do that on Amazon and Google that. You figure that out. And there is this oil called Damiana. These are things that you can consider and look further into. And minerals such as your magnesium is very helpful when it comes to anxiety. Zinc and your B vitamins as well. Folate and B12 is important to help to calm those who are anxious. You can use an anti-stress formula. But yeah, the main ones would be the magnesium, zinc, and your B12 as well. So in order to maintain a healthy, in order to transition smoothly into menopause, we want to maintain a healthy lifestyle. That's all that you need to do, you know? Consider the 8 natural doctors nutrition: fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and all grains, um, plant-based food for most part, and daily exercise. Even, you know, even if walking is all you're able to do, walking is an amazing exercise. Go out and walk every day as you can. And it doesn't matter where you are right now in terms of exercise. Start wherever you are. And as you continue to exercise, the muscles are going to become much stronger. And I'm sure you will become more encouraged as you realize that you're making some progress. So start exercising daily. Water, drink is water in between meal, lots of water, half body weight in ounces daily. Get at least 30 to 45 minutes of sunshine every day. And be temperate in all things. You know, the good things, be temperate with them. You don't want to overdo them because they're good. And those things that are harmful to our bodies, they're harmful. They're not needed. As much as you're able to, avoid them. I mean, and we need fresh air daily. So, you know, when you're out getting your exercise, you can get some fresh air as well. Rest, you not only need good amount of rest every day, 8 hours of rest at night, but you also need good quality sleep. So you want to sleep through the night and not just be sleep and wake up, and so forth. And of course, we cannot leave out God in everything. We do all that we can do, but we want to always include God in everything that we do, because He is going to he's the only one that can actually help us in our issues in life. And also, again, we want to maintain a healthy liver and a well-supported adrenals and clean colon as well. And so that's the information that I have for you today. Thank you all for joining. Next month will be a rest month. And so by God's grace, we will start again in January of 2025. So there will be no meeting next month. And I want to thank everyone that has joined throughout the year until now. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will take 1 or 2 questions because I know time is upon us. Sister Forrest.
Yes. So we are so grateful for this valuable presentation. If there are any questions, I think Mr. Chiola will entertain a few questions.
Will you be able to email it so I can get some of those vitamins? Although I take some of them already, I just wanted to get some other ones. And I also wanted to ask you, do you think that sea moss is a good um help with it as well with menopause?
The slide, are you saying you want the recording or you want the slides?
The slides would be good because I just need to know the medication, the supplements. And
Okay, yeah, I can send you the slides.
okay,
And the CMOS, I'm not sure how directly it would help, but I would think it would help. It helps in general because it is high in, it has all those minerals inside, and that's what we need. We need the minerals.
yeah, okay.
So use the CMOS, I would say.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When should you take the black cohosh? Is that immediately before bedtime or during the day?
You may have to do your own research when it comes to the black cohosh, to any one of the supplements that I recommended.
Is it normal for someone to experience menopause for 10 years?
10 years. Menopause after the 12 months, then the person is supposed to be in menopause. Can you explain a little bit for me how you've been going through menopause for 10 years?
I'm still going through hot flashes. I'm having a lot of hot flashes. I am even breaking out at night times with sweat.
Okay, so you have the symptoms. So yes, after menopause, some people can still suffer, experience some of the symptoms, um, and it depends on your situation. Some people might have, um, because the estrogen, some people might have too little estrogen, some people may have too little progesterone, and once the body is not imbalance, then there will be some effect. So I think that you should look into it and look into balancing your hormones. Consider the things for the adrenals. Also consider liver health and colon health as well. But of course, speak with your doctor and see what recommendations or suggestions they may have. But if, yeah, some people do have symptoms for a very long time, and that's because of the hormone levels that are not properly managed, balanced. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Sister Fries, can you get that recording and share it with me, please? I would love to hear it from the beginning because I came on late. And I would also love to share the information with other ladies.
Okay. Sister Chiola, you have the recording, you could send it to me.
Yes, I will send you the recording.
Yeah.
Excuse me, good night. How can I get the recording?
So I sometimes post the recording in the group chat, and if you've gotten the link, the flyer that comes with a link, you can click on the link and join the chat. That way the recording will be available to you.
Okay,
If not, maybe you can just send me a private message and I'll send it to you.
could you repeat that last part, please?
If not, you can send me a private message and I'll send me your information and I can send it to you personally.
Okay, can you give me a number or something that I can private message you? Yeah, because I'm not a part of any group. Yes, or
Can you
something that I
send me,
can reach you
can you
by.
direct me your message?
Oh,
Okay.
in the chat
I,
now.
yeah, I can put my number in the chat. I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
The number is in the chat. I'm not sure if you saw it.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And if there's no more questions, Sister Fries, I don't want to hold up the line so late today. Sister Fries, you can close out, please.
Okay, so we are very grateful for Sister Chayola and for this vital information that will help those who are pre-menopausal and those who are transitioning into menopause and those who are pre, as you say. All women will need this, and it's good for us to share it with those who didn't get the opportunity to listen for themselves. So may God bless everyone. We are so grateful that you came on to listen and to share. May God bless you as you give your ears, listen to something that is worthy for your health and your personal healthy goals in life. Thank you, Sister Chiola, for the able way in you, which you spend time to do your research and to share it with us. May God bless you as we keep on listening and inviting others. Let us pray. Our Father which art in heaven, we thank you that you have created all these things for our spiritual and physical benefits. Lord, no one likes to be sick. No one likes to be uncomfortable. So help us to follow these health laws. They are available. Our flaxseed, our chia seed, our greens, our vegetables, our fruits, and you name them. God made them all for us. Let us make all good use of them. Help us not to take these vital information for granted, because if you have to go to some doctor to get all these things are so free. They are to our industry. We can't say that we are not informed. Yes, we are totally informed. So Lord, help us to be obedient to all these things, and we will live a more happier and fulfilling life. Thank you, Lord, for blessing us. Thank you for those who presented. Thank you for all of us. And Lord, as we prepare for next year, God's willing, we ask that you will keep us true and faithful and keep us healthy until then. For we ask all this mercy with thanksgiving. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you,
Amen.
Sister Fries.
And Sister Fries, whenever it comes around to that time again, please share the link with me so I can share it. I didn't see it, I just saw it a few minutes before. So
Yes,
remember to
I
send
was
me the
thinking about
recording
this
so I can
too.
share it.
Yes,